Language is full of ambiguity. If I were to say to you, you'd be really fortunate to get this person to work for you, or I'm so glad to say she's a former colleague of mine, there are two potential meanings that I could be trying to convey here. On the one hand, if you knew I liked the person, I could be just fondly recollecting some good memories of a good research collaboration. On the other hand, if you know that I really had a hard time with this colleague, I could be trying to convey that I'm really thrilled to be getting rid of a horrible colleague. So as is clear from these sentences, it's really important to take into account your knowledge of the situation or the immediate context. And we're so good at that as adults that even from the few seconds that I've been talking about this so far, when I tell you that on the next slide I'm going to dig deeper into our oral knowledge, most of you will recognize that I'm not going to start talking about dental hygiene, but instead I'm going to start talking about the sounds we hear. So what I'm really interested in is how children learn about music and language. And as you can see here, when we listen to speech and song, there are lots of potential acoustic features that we could pay attention to. On the top row, we have duration and loudness. In the middle row there, we have pitch, variations in pitch. And on the bottom row, we have variations in syllables, which are composed of consonants and vowels. And for a child listening to something like this, it might be difficult to figure out which acoustic characteristics or set of acoustic features are most important in order to extract the intended message. For adults, however, when we know we're listening to song, we weigh pitch information more heavily, and that helps us to create a melody and understand which song we're listening to. Whereas when we're listening to speech, we listen to the relationships among syllables and words, and this can help us figure out who is doing what to whom. In this sense, then, our knowledge or our ability to differentiate between speech and song can help guide our attention toward the relevant set of acoustic features. And this knowledge can help guide our processing of music and language and help us acquire music and language better. And indeed, that's exactly what I found in my research that I've been doing here at UNLV so far with 4-year-olds. 4-year-olds that are better at differentiating speech and song also have higher vocabularies. And this is some of the first evidence that having separate, well-formed representations for speech and song, like my nephew here, James, might help us home in on the relevant set of acoustic features. And this might have cascading benefits on vocabulary development. So this research it has some real potential for clinical impact as well. Children with autism have trouble inhibiting the irrelevant features like pitch when they're listening to speech. And so a training paradigm that uses a task like mine could help children with autism learn to hone in on the relevant acoustic characteristics when they're listening to speech compared to song. So the next time you hear an ambiguous utterance, remember to consider the context. Thanks.